Sourish, over to you for the next module. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Taran. Our next module is going to be very important because housekeepers suddenly, I think in the past 1 year have become very important in hotels, especially with the COVID protocols coming into play, and the safety and security of customers in the rooms becoming so important. So many issues have come up, and housekeepers have not only had to address those issues, but also work with fewer staff, which is what we are going to come to when we discuss the matter with Rita Shah, who's the president marketing of Gilead India. She has, of course, a vast experience, and I'll talk a lot about multi-skilling, multitasking with her. And we've got Preeti Sharma Gulati. She's the executive housekeeper of Hyatt Regency Delhi. Interestingly, she was in the hospital sector before she came into hospitality. So she can give a good perspective about careers for hospitality professionals in hospitals. If Taran gives me the go ahead, we can start the session right away.
Yes, Sourish, please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, but I need to see my panelists. The lovely ladies. Great. I still can't see them, but I guess they must. Yes, I can see Rita with HHC banner right behind her. Preeti, I hope you're also there on the screen.
If you can say a hi, I can spot you out.
Yeah, because Preeti, we have got more than 200 people signed on. So, there is a...
Unmute and say hi, please. We are not, you are not audible, Preeti.
Okay, one loud hi from Preeti. Meanwhile, we'll just... okay, there is Preeti.
There she is.
But I doubt, I mean, if she is audible to us. Preeti, can you speak something?
No, you're not audible. I can read your lips, but you're not audible.
That's all right. Try again. That's all right. Try again. Try again.
Okay, maybe Preeti, you'll have to, switch off, switch on.
She's on mute here.
Have you been muted?
No. She has some mic issues, what I believe.
Oh, okay. Okay. Anyway, what we can do is we can start the discussion, Rita. And
yeah, sure.
You can jump in, Rita, you have, of course, we heard you right at the beginning, talking about your career, and what you're doing now. But, I'll sort of move a little away from what the topic suggests because of the number of questions being asked in this area. One, I want to know, as a senior professional, a lot of IHM students or the instructors are asking us this one question: what are the job prospects for those who are graduating out of IHMs or other hotel management colleges, some of which are really good? Those new graduates, what are, or the graduating students, what is your advice to them? I mean, they're seeing a very like an unfortunate situation unfold in front of them. What is your suggestions for a bounce back?
No, I think it's actually a bounce back for them, and they'll be having better opportunities now, because after this lockdown and this pandemic, in fact, my view is the senior, officers or managers or personnel of the hospitality have either moved out or have been asked to move out. And in order to curtail the revenues and expenditure, there will be more opportunities for them, because people would be looking for, people who have the training, who have the aptitude, and plus they will be at an entry point of level. Instead of, there will be a lot of staff who has moved out to their villages. A lot of older people have been asked to go by various companies, So there are more opportunities for them. I don't think they should think that there are no opportunities whatsoever, which is actually wrong.
That is interesting because we also one question that was asked by a person who had registered. I had asked for questions at the time of registration. So one of the questions was that what do people who are say 50 plus, many of whom have become redundant because of the current situation, what do they do in their careers? That is one. And second, what young people are very worried about, that you're right that a lot of young people are being hired, but they're being hired at much lower salaries,
Yes.
than maybe what they had expected. So
Yes.
what is your advice to these young people?
Uh, my advice to the young people is, yes, the salary might not be as great now, but the bounce back will happen. It just patience that is required, and and since they're students, that is when they join in anywhere, even when they go under training or they go as job trainees, they learn, they get that experience, and with that experience comes knowledge, extra working operational knowledge of hotels so far. So this is the time where they can still gain that experience, so they shouldn't be disheartened. This is what is an opportunity for them to learn more. The more hotels will be asking for them, more, yes, salary is going to be an issue at the beginning. And that is always there for the newcomers anyway, because they're taken at not at the upper grade levels, they are taken at a different point. So then the older experienced ones.
Right.
So,
Yeah, okay. Now I'll come to Preeti, because being a younger person, Preeti, you have seen the transition actually. When you came in, I think into the industry, the hotel was more settled. The hotel industry was more settled. In fact, maybe there was a lot of optimism in the industry. Today, on the other hand, there is pessimism all over, and that is why I'm particularly happy that the Happy Hotelier Club, as the name suggests, is doing so much, and Rita is one of the founders of this club. You're doing so much to promote a positive feeling. But Preeti, the truth is that people are losing jobs. Many young people are being discouraged or disheartened. They do not want to join the industry. So what is your advice?
Um, Thank you so much, Sourish, first and foremost, for this opportunity. And we meet again for a webinar. I want to start on a positive note where I would like to say that today is the time that we act as a community, where we are brought together by a situation like this pandemic. We would have never, there is a team, there is a department, there is a hotel, but once you go back home, it's just something you've left behind as a phase of life, and you continue with your personal responsibilities. Today we work as a family. There have been many occasions, and I'm not sure it's just my hotel, but many hotels where the teams have stayed in-house, they've lived together, they've had their food together, they've taken care of each other when there was a slightest symptom shown, even if it was not COVID, but it was a general cough, but people have stood for each other and they've taken care of each other. So I believe, I understand the hiring, yes, has slowed down. The packages have come down. The money, the compensation part would not be as much as we probably expected. But this is the time when people have really come together as a community. And even as hoteliers, the times were challenging. Speaking of our department, particularly housekeeping was the only department in any given hotel who was going at the shop floor and catering to patients. Most of the hotels were converted into COVID care facilities. We were in one tie-up or another, but these were the people who were actually going there. So they have added up to their skill set of handling a situation as adverse as this. Day to day, they have not just served the guests, served the patients, but they've also added that skill set for themselves. And there were people who were backing up for them. There were people like us who were standing for them, standing for their safety, ensuring the best of PPE provided to them. And that's why the whole courage could come forward and they could take that step forward and take the plunge of serving those guests. So
Yes.
times are tough, but this is also the time when we have come together.
And I think you're also learning new skills, which brings me to Rita. Say a person who's preparing for the hotel industry, and who is looking at a career in housekeeping. What are the new avenues opening up for that person? And how do you see, say an area like facilities management developing in the coming years?
Well, there are a lot of avenues besides hotels for the IHM, pass outs. And the first one, instead of facility management, would be hospitals. The largest, employer at the moment, and an employer where the necessity is there for, the time requires that they have all updates and they have all. So there are a lot of hospitals where they can find opportunities over there. Besides, of course, there's facility planning, which a lot of companies are doing it, where branded companies are doing it, like JLL and all, and that will be there in all the metro cities. But what happens to them when they are in the smaller towns or in they're going into tier 2 cities? So there, the opportunities are going to be more towards hospitals, going to be more towards malls management. They all require, ground staff also, but they require managers also, they require supervisors also. So there's a large panorama of opportunities are there. You just have to be focused that you are going to get something.
That's right.
It's not the end, it is even the hotel line is going to come back. It might take time. Nobody can predict it at this present point of time. But yes, for the youngsters, the positivity in them and the thought that, yes, this is a learning experience for them.
Right, exactly. So, in fact, Preeti, Rita mentioned about hospitals, and you have been in a hospital. How was it like working in a hospital, and how is it different from working in a hotel? Of course, from outside one knows what could be the difference, but being inside, what difference did you see?
See, today hotels, the state-of-the-art hospitals are the ones who hire people from hotels. So I started off my career as an OCLD graduate, and then working with the Oberoi group for a couple of years, and then moving to my first hospital group, the BLK hospital. And Fortis was my last assignment before I came back to the hotel industry. So they want people who understand hospitality to start with. So even if someone is aspiring to go to a hospital after their hotel management degree, people want to see that you understand hospitality, you understand what services, you understand the cleaning standards of another state-of-the-art facility before you come on board with them. So it is important that if we have this time in the interim, if we have so much extra opportunities are all over the place. There is LinkedIn, which is full of different courses. There are group discussions happening. There are these great webinars happening, and people have to participate. They have to brush themselves further to, yes, appear into different arenas like malls or facility management or hospitals, because they do like people from this industry. They really respect them, but they also want to see that what you're getting in store for them.
Right.
So it is very...
That's important. So, you can't just walk into a hospital after graduating from a hotel management institute. That's quite evident from what you say. The other thing I wanted to ask you that within hotels, how much of how has COVID changed the way hotels look at their hygiene standards?
We have grown very particular about it. So this was something which we were focused on cleaning aspect earlier, but today, yes, hygiene, infection control, it has become a part of this. And this is not the first time I'm speaking about it on a public forum. It is the times have been so unprecedented that this is now something we are very particular about. Every hotel today has a hygiene champion or a hygiene manager who's particularly looking at the hygiene aspect. They will take their audit rounds. They will There are regular swabs being taken from different public areas, laundry, uniform sample of the processed linen in the hotel. Then there are teams who are doing audits of your garbage segregation. This was something which was only known to hospitals. We used to use the foot pedal and check what contents have gone in what type of dustbin. Today, it's a norm even at a hotel. We have to see the general garbage goes in general garbage, and the biomedical waste dustbin only has things like gloves and masks. So these things have become very important today, and you have to have dedicated people. So this is also one career opportunity which is opened for everybody today. Hygiene was something not known to hotels, and today it's an opportunity to look and engage for.
Absolutely. And, Rita, that brings me that, the hotel management institutes clearly have to bring in hygiene.
Hygiene as a subject. They have
curriculum.
hygiene as a subject. Yeah, they do have it.
Yeah.
It's only
But,
they have to emphasize more on the students, on the protocols of hygiene now.
In fact, like once, the IHM Pusa principal had told me that they have nutrition as a subject,
Yes.
but nutrition is hardly taught.
Hardly taught.
So, it's one thing to have a subject, another to dedicate some, classroom hours to it.
Yeah.
But now, which gets me, because we were just talking about there's some strange noise coming in. Can everyone who's not participating in this discussion, can they just mute themselves if they haven't already been muted? Okay, now the noise has stopped. Okay, now, Rita, it's we talk about hotels, but what about malls? There's a lot of worry about malls. Because you're in the facilities management business. Are malls getting more hygiene conscious? Are COVID protocols in place in all malls? Or,
Yes, definitely.
Definitely.
The malls are, in fact, the first ones who have actually opened up before the hotels opened up, because a lot of hotels were still, thinking whether the footfalls will be there or not. But malls were the ones which opened up earlier, and they were the ones who actually put in the protocols in place first. There are some malls that are really actually following all the norms. In fact, besides the malls, there are even smaller shops or shopping centers which also put all the norms in place, whether it is social distancing, whether it is hand sanitizers, whether it is thermal checkups of your temperatures. But the most important one of them would be the cleaning of the public areas and the public toilets. That is the most important one, where they are there. They have put certain protocols there, but they need to upgrade those much more. They need to upgrade those, because there's no protocol to say that only 5 people are going in because they have 5 cabins, over there. They have 10 people queuing out. So all those protocols are most important to be put into place by the mall owners or the mall management.
But our hospitals, are offices also getting into the the health and hygiene mode, or especially what about tier 2 and tier 3 cities and towns? Is the consciousness
the tier 2, tier 3 cities, the consciousness as far as the malls and public places is concerned is not really that good, because I've been traveling during this COVID period. I've been to Goa and I've been to a couple of other tier 2 cities, and yes, they need to really do something about it, and they are not really that conscious about hygiene, I would say. Maybe they're all wearing masks. They all have sanitizers outside the shops or the mall or the shopping center. But inside there is no control. That management has to be done. It's not going to be a short term, it might go on for another year. We all have to take precautions, whether inoculated or vaccinated or not vaccinated. But those protocols are going to be there for some time, till, we get to know that it's disappeared from the face of the earth, the COVID. Till then, this education has to be put into place.
How does one ensure that? Because it's a problem, don't you think, that We have got, okay, in certain showpiece properties in big cities, all sorts of protocols are in place. But in smaller towns and cities, no one seems to be following them.
No, they do follow. It's not that they don't follow, but then there are certain areas where they are unable to do it. Like I said, that there are certain, areas as in the public toilets, in the malls and the city centers where they are more than the required number, even at the airport. I flew down a couple of times during the lockdown for work. And I myself found even at the Delhi airport, even at the other airports, if you had a place for, say, 10 people inside the washroom, there were more than 20 standing inside. So those protocols, the mall management or the airport authority, it's just not hand sanitizers and using a thermal check. It's not just a question of, putting these, face value things which say, okay, yes, we put everything in place. We are doing this, we are doing that. It has actually practically to be put in place. They have a woman over there or a male attendant over there to say, to clean up the toilets or the loos, but they need to even stop people from entering there.
That's right. That's right. Yes, sir. So, Preeti, now that we have gone through so many of these, about hygiene and health protocols, let's come back to one important question. That is, what about, your staff? You're working with fewer people than before. How do you manage it? How do you manage your time? How do you manage your staff's time? And, is there training required to do more with less?
Uh, to speak the truth, currently, the workload is also less. Once, when the pandemic wasn't complete, it had hit us bad back in the mid of April and May. Back then, there were certain number of people who were managing the rush that had come in because of the new alliances. We had doctors staying with us. We had a hospital tie up, and a couple of patients had come into the hotel. So we could manage back then. But what happened last year, and I believe it will be on similar model now, that yes, people were, some of them were sent on leave without pays, but people will also come back as the business picks up. So today we are a certain mix of people who chose not to come to work because of the given situation, and we've respected them for that. So only the people who wanted to work, who were in dire need and their finances were only supported by this job of theirs, they are the ones who are working currently. Yes, the number is much less than what we really need. And currently, because we're in a lockdown situation, things are being done in phases. So if we are a certain floor hotel, we are only operating a couple of them, and rest have been put in a shutdown. This is a normal practice across the industry, but that is something we are following strictly currently, that okay, I probably just need 3 floors to be operational currently. The other 2 or 3 would be only a fresher service would be done, and we'll visit them every couple of days, but we don't have permanent allocation. Like for restaurant, if it's an operational hotel, we'll have all the restaurants manned with different associates maintaining them from time to time. Currently, there is a certain team of about 5 to 6 people. They take care of the entire area. So what they do is they will cater to 1 or 2 areas today. They'll go and shift to the next area tomorrow. So the focus right now is sanitization, disinfection, and cleaning is happening on a rotational basis. So that's how the current situation is being met and sufficed with.
Fantastic. So that is very, I think I've learned a lot from this session. I wish actually someone, one of our, audience members said that the challenge, Rita, in the places that you mentioned, places like malls and all, where you saw people not following COVID protocols, how to impose guidelines without being imposing. I think it requires all the tact and diplomacy of the world is required for that. That is one skill I guess you cannot teach at any IHM or any other place. But I guess people will learn. But the most important thing is for people to be self-disciplined and to be
Yes, yeah.
motivated to follow
Yeah,
certain
yeah.
guidelines. You know?
वहीं रहो तुम.
Thank you, Rita.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Preeti. We have had a
Thank you so
very
much.
fruitful session, and I hope more and more people get into housekeeping, bright people, and we have a very good future ahead for them. Thank you, and we
Thank
hope
you,
to
Sourish. Thank you very much for
Thank
having
you so
us here on the panel.
stay happy,
Thank
stay
you.
safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Taran, over to you.
Sourish, we will go ahead with the next session.
Yes, absolutely. You know,
Yeah.
unless you have got other programs lined up.
So two modules and then a break.
Right.
So Dheeraj, we can switch over to the module 4, please.
What I seem to love, you know, actually the comments are so interesting at times that I get distracted.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just
Fine.
reading them. You know.
Fine.
I mean, really, really interesting
Yeah,
comments.
it's pretty
you know.
interactive
Okay, now,
happening. Yeah, over to you. Sorry.
absolutely. We have now, something which, I know the three people involved, and I can see what pains they've gone through in the last 1 year. I've also seen how they've overcome challenges, and I already have lots of questions to ask them. The topic of this session is turning challenges into opportunities in restaurants. What can young professionals do to get future ready? What are the tools available to